Hey guys, today I want to start off talking about Denmark. Yes, Denmark, the land of the Danes, known for its pastries, very delicious stuff. Lego bricks, not as delicious, but kids eat them all the time. Vikings, wind turbines, and JABRA, the pro and consumer audio maker. Well, actually, most of us didn't even know JABRA is from Denmark, but now you know, and they're really from Denmark. But the context of this is 6 months ago, we got a glimpse of how good JABRA is at the true wireless earbud game with the 75T actives. I really like those things, but I couldn't help but wonder in the back of my head what that would be like with active noise cancellation, because it didn't have any. So here we are with the latest addition to the Danish family, guys. Say hello to the JABRA 85T and a big warm welcome to the Sony WF-1000XM3 killer. Or is it? You want to know the answer to that question? Let's find out after these messages that way. Let's do it! Alright guys, so here is the JABRA 85T, and let's talk about the specs first before we take a closer look at the case and then the earbuds. Now, this new kit on the block lists for $230, which personally I think is a little bit too rich for my blood, but this is exactly what many of us thought of when the WF-1000XM3s from Sony's first came out. And look where the Sonys are right now a year later. They're so cheap and affordable. So if this piques your interest, this JABRA, wait about a year and the price is going to come down enough to make it really affordable. Now, as it is though, for that high price, you get adjustable active noise cancellation with a 6 mic array that aids in noise cancellation and phone call processing. I'll talk more about the ANC and we'll perform a mic test later on, so be sure to check those out. These 85T guys lasted me about 5 hours 45 minutes before giving up the ghost, which is pretty darn good for active noise cancellation earbuds, which also means it handily outlasts the Sonys and AirPod Pros. Now, when you pop one of these suckers at 0% back into the case, it provides roughly around 3.5 more times of full usage for a combine of roughly 25 hours. These buds weigh 6 3/4 grams each, which is really on par with earbuds this size, while the case comes in at 45 grams, and if I remember correctly, that's like 3 grams heavier than the Samsung Buds Live. That in itself was really small, and about 5 more grams than the Mifo 09s. That was one of the lightest cases I've held so far. There's also IPX4 water resistance rating. Bluetooth 5.0 is what you get here, and at this price, and being the latter part of the year, we should be seeing 5.1 by now, so you know, JABRA, pay attention to that. If you're an Apple user, you'll be happy because AAC is supported, while Android users have to settle with SBC. Again, not having aptX is a ballsy move and not in a good way at this price. Thank goodness though, JABRA continues to use physical membrane buttons to control playback, calls, and other functions, and we'll check those out in a second. Looking closer at the case, we find something similar to the 75T series, which means it's tall and also narrow, therefore very pocketable. And it's also quite dull of a design, guys. It's very uniform and plain, flat at the bottom, flat at the top, and a JABRA logo is all you got. But at least it's simple and it doesn't draw too much attention to itself, which really I'm fine with. Now, build quality itself is pretty much spot on. The plastics that they use is high-grade plastics, and there's a slight friction texture to it. Nothing overly rubbery here, and there's none of that rubber that deteriorates over time. There's a small creak in the hinge that goes away after a couple presses, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this. As I run my fingers over it, it does leave behind grease and marks around there. So bear this in mind, this is going to need cleaning, at least in the black color, black version, it's going to need cleaning a lot. So, if you work out a lot or if you just went through a whole bucket of chicken and grabbed this is going to need cleaning right away. Looking around this plain Jane case, up front we have this tiny little LED light right here that comes on when you pop open the lid, so it shows you the battery status of the case itself. Out back here is the USB-C charging port, and down here, if you recognize this logo, guys, that's Qi charging for you. So this is an upgrade from the 75T and 75T Active, so wireless charging is finally on board. It's not the quickest in town, by the way, but at least it's there. Yeah, at least it's there. When you open the inside, the lid is all matte plastics, nothing shiny at all, and the lid itself is held down by a magnet, which is nice, but the hinge is not the strongest, neither does it lock with a spring or anything like that. So if you apply enough torque, it does flop close. At least it's not super loose or anything like that. The bottom molding is really, really nice. It's like a waxy, rubbery kind of feeling texture, so it's really easy to clean. So down here in the cavity is the same material as well, so it's really easy to reach down there with a Q-tip if you have to, or a damp towel to clean it. 2 charging pins right there, and the magnets on the flip side of the earbud. Now, speaking of magnets, let's test the magnet strength on these guys. And I'm going to do the shake test. And these guys stay put. So if you drop them, they're not going to go flying all over the place, which is really nice. Alright, now let's take a closer look at the earbud itself. And from this view, this kind of reminds me of the Sennheiser Momentum 2s as well as the Technics AZ70 with this tower-like shape. Although in the Jabra, it kind of circumvents that bulkiness by having a cool or different outer cap design by tapering this really sharply right here. So it kind of looks like from the top and most angles, the tip of an iceberg hiding a bulky mass down here towards the earbud. Build quality is pretty good. It has high quality plastic similar to the case itself. Although on the sides here, I wish there was a little bit more grip or texture or something, because when the buds are a little bit moist even, especially when they're sweaty, it's really hard to grip and hold on to it. It's not very reassuring. Now, when you look around the design of this thing, the outer surface here is the touch pad. It's not a touch gesture control. It's actually a physical membrane button. Thank goodness they kept this, because I love this kind of buttons. It's very positive in clicking, and it accepts single, double, triple taps. There's no hold, and it's fully customizable in the app, which we'll check out in a second. Here's the venting port up front here, and there are 3 mics per earbud, one down here, one at the back, and one at the top. Flipping this over to the back, we find 2 charging contacts right here and what kind of looks like a gas mask from this angle. And I'm going to roll this around, and you can tell me if there's something huge missing from this right here. I can tell you there is something missing, and it's a huge omission. There is no proximity sensor. There's no proximity sensor window anywhere, guys. At this price and this time of the year, the fact that Jabra omitted it is a huge mistake. So I think that's kind of pathetic on their part. Now, in here doing all the work is a 12mm driver. That's really huge. And it pipes sound through this really short sound port right there, and that is lipped, and as well as it's oval, and it matches to oval ear tips. There's no mesh grill right here. Is a through hole, but the mesh protector is actually in the ear tip itself. And by the way, in terms of ear tip selection in the box, it comes with 2 others. I wish there was more sizes to choose from, but that's what you got. Popping these on and off is pretty easy. It's one of the easier oval ones I've tested, because it has a harder center core and surrounded by really soft silicone outside. One of the easier ones to put on, as you can see. Alright guys, so here's the 85T's companion app called Sound Plus. It's not the most creative name in the world, but functionality wise, this thing is where it's at, guys. I've enjoyed it since my time with the 85H back in the day, and as far as I can tell, not much has changed, so that's a good thing. I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? So the main screen is pretty bare in terms of color. It's all gray with contrasting yellow. At the top here, you see left-right earbud battery level, as well as a case, which is nice to see right off the bat. And right below that is moments. This is one of the special things about Jabra, is you can switch between how you use the earbuds to your day. So if you're commuting, you can switch to commute, and you can have hear through on and change the level, or have active noise cancellation and also change the strength of that. And once you're done setting up here also, you can click save and you're done. And below this is a 5-band equalizer, not too special, but at least it's there. And below that is a bunch of music presets. You have 6 to start out with, and then you can add as you go. I've tried 5 personal presets, and I think you can keep going. I've done 5, 6, and it still kept going. And then down below this soundscape, this is really cool. You can play different background noises when you go to sleep or something, or if you just want, white noise or whatever when you're studying, or if you're doing a yoga session, you can have sounds of nature playing through your earbuds, which is really nice. I like that. And then down here, you can edit the widgets and just reorient them or take them away if you don't want it. If we go back to the top of the screen, we find this gear icon on the top right here. This is where you can access all your primary options. And this little arrow denotes that there is a firmware update available, so we can see if you can update it. I'm not going to do that right now, but it's right there, and it's nice that Jabra updates it pretty frequently. Headset settings. This is one thing I want to show you. Audio experience. Here is auto pause audio. And on face value, you might think, hey, this has proximity sensors. So Aaron, what are you talking about? Because all throughout the episode, I say there's none. Well, what Jabra uses here is near field magnetic induction. Basically, if you separate the 2 earbuds past 8 inches, the audio will pause. The problem with this, it doesn't work half of the time. And half of the time when I take my right side off and when it's separated, you can hear a lot of crackling on your left earbud, so it's not a pleasant experience. So if you own one of these, I suggest you just turn it off right off the bat and never use it again. Now here, call experience, you can set up your side tone level, call quality, equalizer, you can set that up separately. Headset configuration, here's where you can turn on and off sleep mode, and or set it up so when there's no music or sound piping through, it will turn off after a while. And then once it's turned off, you tap one of the buttons and it will come back on again. If you want to speed up the headset, like cycling between modes, it always has a voice prompt. It's kind of slow. If you want to speed it up, you can turn the guidance, the feedback from voice to no guidance or tone. It is much quicker. It cuts off about half the time at least. Now let's back out of this screen and check out personalize your headset. And this is where you can customize your controls, for example, for incoming and outgoing calls, as well as when media is playing, what the left and right buttons do for single press, double and triple press. So it's really standard fare, and at least it's here though. Now backing out, you see my sound here. It says your tailored equalizer. This is similar to what Sony does, where it'll do a calibration. You'll go through a test to test your hearing, and then you'll calibrate the sound based on what it finds, which is nice to have here. So this is really the app in a gist. It's really nice and powerful. It's simple when you want it to, and if you want it to be more customizable, you can delve into the settings. So guys, if you haven't heard already, I am trying to get to 5,000 subs, and only you can get me there. If you haven't already, then please consider subscribing down below and turning on the bell notification icon. So thank you in advance for your help, and get me to 5,000. Back to the program. Alright guys, now it's time to look at my 3 favorite things and 3 least favorite things about the JABRA 85T, and we're going to start with the dislikes first, get that out of the way. First one on the list is water resistance. The 85Ts have IPX4, but let's not forget the older 75T has IP55 water resistance rating, and the 75T Actives have IP57, so you can swim and shower with those, but you can't with the 85Ts. So you notice the pattern there? JABRA did a downgrade on us. Not cool, JABRA. One feature that's missing big time from these earbuds is the lack of mono mode, guys. That means you can't use the left side separate from the right side. As it is right now, only the right can be used, while the left side has to stay in the case. That's so 2010. Another feature that is gravely missing here, and you cannot fix this with software updates by the way, is the lack of proximity sensors. Come on JABRA, for $240, why didn't you include this? Because your competitors did, and you're supposedly high-end. So having this omitted is just a huge oversight. And I guess that makes that 4 things that I do not like about these earbuds. Alright guys, we're out here doing the Bluetooth distance test now, and I have Holding Back the Years by Simply Red, good song, playing on Deezer and high fidelity on my Pixel. And I'm gonna put the phone at the end of my deck, and I'm gonna keep walking this way, and we're going to see when these guys cut out. So the 85Ts have Bluetooth 5.0, so theoretically it should last around 30 to 33 feet. But we do these tests every single time because while these guys are pretty standardized in terms of the number 5.0 or Bluetooth 5.1, every one of them is made differently. You know, different location of the antenna or quality of the components. So I just thought it'd be good to test these out. So the phone is at the end of my deck, and where I'm standing is around 25 feet. We're going to walk this way around past line of sight around the corner of the house to see when these guys start sputtering, and I just got a hint of that right here. And at this point the music is unintelligible. It's pointless listening to this by now, but we're gonna keep walking until these guys have a complete disconnect. How you guys doing? It's really cold out right now, but device disconnected, so it's about 42 feet. I'm gonna keep walking to see when these guys reconnect, and some devices when they reconnect the media starts playing again, but I'm not sure about the JABRAs, so we'll test this out. So by the way, here you can see the device reconnected and the media is not continuing. So for what it's worth, it's no big deal at all, but they don't resume. You can see the fit of the earbuds in my ear in this case. It's kind of similar to the 75Ts. It protrudes about a millimeter and a half to 2 millimeters outside of my earlobe. So, you know, something to bear in mind. If you like the look of it, check it out. If you don't, just move on to the next one. Alright guys, we're out here doing the Bluetooth phone call test, and no, I did not just do a wardrobe change from the last scene. This is a completely new day and it's freezing cold right now. It's like 15 degrees, so I'm going to try to do this quickly and hop back in the house. But anyways, I'm going to switch between the G85 and the 85Ts, the microphones on these ones, and you can hear for yourself how these things do in terms of noise suppression and my general voice quality in the quiet time. And right now it's pretty noisy. It's commute hours, so there's a lot of traffic, which is really nice for sample tests. Anyways, I really like the sound quality on these guys. They're better than the 75Ts. And by the way, if you want to check out some of my other earbuds that I've tested like this, you can follow that link up here and you can hear what it's like. But the 75Ts were a little bit inferior in terms of voice quality and sound suppression. But these have, instead of 4 mics in the 75Ts, we have 6 mics now handling phone call and noise suppression or receiving, so they can do more processing and such like that, more samples to take. So my voice quality, it's a little bit muffled, a little bit distant to the hearer, but the bass and the detail is pretty good, spot on. And then the noise suppression is really effective, as you can hear. It's really effective. There's a slight, some digitized sounds do peek through, but it's one of the better ones I've tested. Here comes a big bus. How's that? And even wind noise is the only weakness, I think. There's a lot of wind right now coming through, and I think that's the only weak part because of all the open airness of this. There's venting ports and 3 microphone ports in each earbud. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of wind coming through. So if it's a windy situation, it's going to be bad. But in a noisy street, if you're running and exercising, this is perfect. And of course, that goes without saying, if you're in a quiet environment in the office, Zooming and whatever, this would be a perfect earbud for you. Good job, Jabra. Nice one for you guys. Alright guys, now it's time to talk about the good stuff, the positives. And the first one on my list is sound quality. This thing sounds so good. The staging, the clarity, the detail is all right there. There's barely a discernible hiss in the background, but other than that, everything is so clear. Out of the box though, I have to say, and this you have to bear in mind, that this thing is bass heavy, twice as high as the mid-range actually, but it sounds so good too. For the most users and most consumers, this bass heaviness is strong and thumping, and everything else just follows suit and supplements it. But for you audiophiles, you're probably like, once you tune this, you're gonna find the weaknesses in the other frequency ranges. But actually, that's another great thing about these Jabras, is they're so flexible with tuning. Once you go into the app and you drop that bass and raise the mids and the highs a little bit here and there, this thing is so good, guys. And the last time I gushed about sound quality like this was with the Sony WF-1000X M3s and the Soundcore Liberty 2 Pros. That's how good these Jabras are. Another thing that I like about the 85Ts is that it solves a lot of issues I had with the WF-1000X M3, like size. Where the case and the earbuds are smaller now, battery life, it's longer, Qi charging, the Sonys had none, water resistance, the Sonys had none. And last but not least, we have active noise cancellation. And in this category, in my personal opinion, we finally have a Jabra that dethrones the Sonys. It's really that good. Low frequencies are just killed and nullified, and whatever mid to high ranges that do sneak into the earbuds, the processing algorithm manages to take the sharp edges out of them overall. So it's really good. In fact, it's better than the Jabra's own 85H, which I really like. So you can use this in confidence if you're a frequent traveler, or if you just want to, drown out external sounds while you work or study at home. So here are my final thoughts, guys. I think the Jabra 85T is the perfect earbud if you're a frequent traveler, commuter, student, or really basically anyone who wants peace and quiet while enjoying really good quality sound. Jabra really nailed this here, especially in a few areas like noise cancellation, sound quality, and packaging in that order. So I want to give the Jabra 85T a GearUP score of 8.5 out of 10. Now, I also want to answer the question that I posed at the beginning of the show. The Jabra comes this close to stealing the crown from the Sony WF-1000X M3s, but at the end of the day, at the sum of its parts, I think the crown is shared between the two. The Sonys have better, fuller, warmer sound that I personally prefer, while the Jabras have more effective active noise cancellation. But that being said, if the 85T had proximity sensors and aptX support, or if the price was much lower to compensate for the missing features, we would have a higher score or even a perfect score here. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and I hope you come back next Friday for a new one because it's gonna be super awesome. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel, mash and kill that button down below, show your support, and try to get me to 5,000 subs because we're so close. And I guess once we get to 5,000 subs, it's on to the next target, 10K or something. And if you haven't already, also visit my Patreon page down here where you can buy me a cup of coffee or tea or something like that and connect that way. And remember the thumbs up if you like this video. Yes, that's very important. And comment nicely down below. And thumbs down. Thumbs down to in-car navigation systems. They generally kind of suck and I don't like it, and I'm not sure why manufacturers forces us to buy those things and combine it with other packages, but in-car navigation systems just suck. They're not as good as our phones, so thumbs down to that technology that just needs to go away. It'd be nice to just be able to stick your phone in the dash and it becomes your navigation system. That would be super awesome, right? So thumbs down to in-car navigation system that obsoletes itself faster than your phone can. So anyways, that's all I got, guys. Thank you so much for being here again. And remember to enjoy your weekend, be good, and do something nice and kind for somebody. Show some love in the world, guys. And I'll see you next week. Peace out.